Hey guys, how's it going? Griff here from the Hookup Tackle. Jeff and I are just here to talk to you about some of my favorite ways to fish in the month of November.
November's finally here.
Yeah.
It's starting to cool off.
It's cold.
Fine.
The mornings are cold.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
A little brisk.
We have a bipolar weather system right now.
Yeah, it's up and down.
Like 2 hoodies in the morning.
Yeah, you gotta take that off by like 9 o'clock.
Tank top in the afternoon. But it's dope, right?
Yeah.
You get to do a lot of different things.
Yes, this is my favorite time of the year because fish are going, man.
Yeah.
They're eating like the cool stuff right now.
Yeah. So that's the one of the best things about early to late fall is that they eat.
Yes.
And they eat really well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some of the things that we like to throw.
Okay.
Let's start off with some topwater.
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 We can do that here in November.
Yeah, we can.
Some people, they're dealing with ice right now.
Yeah. Well, they did that on purpose.
They did it on purpose.
They moved there on purpose. That's their fault. It's not mine. All right, guys. So for us, in early spring, we start seeing this influx of like dragonflies coming in, right?
Yep.
And the dragonflies are like all these crazy colors.
Very.
So I just like to throw a buzz bait.
Wait, did you say early spring?
I said fall. Did I say spring?
I think you said early spring.
Fall. Beep, cut.
I thought you were gonna say, yeah, in early spring there's dragonflies and they're kind of gone and then they come back.
No.
But yeah, you just straight up said early spring.
Yeah, early fall. They go away for the summer because it's like 900 degrees outside. Yeah. And then when it starts to cool down, you know that we're about to start, getting some temperature drops because the dragonflies start showing up.
Oh yeah.
And they're in the wildest colors ever, right?
They are.
You got blacks, you got reds, you got blues. So I like to throw a buzz bait.
Okay.
And I'm not throwing your standard colored buzz baits.
No, you're not.
Right? So fire tigers work really well for me.
That's insane.
Around this time. Pinks, fire tigers, and reds.
Crazy.
Right? So for some reason, those are the colors that work. I can throw a white one all day, and I'll get a couple bites, but when I just start throwing all the wild colors,
really,
that's when they start eating them.
That's insane.
Yeah. So
makes sense though.
And these are my go-to buzz baits right now. The Jamaica Boa when I need something loud and to work fast, and the Master Blaster when I just need something with a little bit of squeak it to it that I can work pretty slow.
You've had a lot of success with that bait.
Dude, this is up there, one of my favorites. Master Blaster's dope. Master Blaster is a very unique buzz bait because it comes pre-squeaked.
Pre-squeaked.
So I don't know if a lot of people were gonna understand, but
right.
We used to get a buzz bait and used to like spin the blade
over and over and over and over,
and hours, or whatever you could do to mess with the blade.
Yep.
To get it to squeak.
Squeak more, right?
Right.
Yeah, I always found with my buzz baits, when I first fished it, I'd get a couple bites, but the more I fished it, the more fish I caught on it, the better the buzz bait got.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That squeak, it's just there.
But this one comes pre-squeak.
Pre-squeak. So it comes with a sleeve over the wire, right?
Oh, okay.
And just with the blade spinning and that sleeve rubbing against the wire, it's just gonna hear that squeak in there.
Yep.
So you don't have to wear down the wire to get it to squeak.
Really?
And the water's got this high-pitched squeak when it's coming through.
Yep.
This one you have to move slowly because once you start to pick up the speed, it will start running sideways.
Okay.
Right? Still get bit, but it's not in position to get bit.
That makes sense.
So super dope buzz
Master
bait
Blaster.
there. Master Blaster.
Great name.
Yeah. That might be why I like it so much.
You're right.
Too, right? Yeah. So the buzz bait's a great one for us, and it's easy to figure out where to throw it because you see the dragonflies flying around. Like, oh, there's a fish there. Yeah. Something's always tracking it.
Yeah. Are you throwing that first thing in the morning, or are you waiting until the dragonflies are out?
That's an all-day thing.
It's an all-day thing.
Yeah. In the fall, you can fish the topwater all day.
Wow.
We have certain lakes that have a lot of trees in it. Alamo, Roosevelt. If you go to Roosevelt right now, every tree has 20, 30 dragonflies in it.
Seriously, yeah.
And you're gonna cast it over a group of trees. Your line's gonna be hanging over the trees. You're gonna squeak, 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 pull it through the branch, squeak, 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 boom. And they're just gonna mash it, dude.
So sick.
And it just works out like that.
Yeah,
right?
honestly.
Yeah. So another topwater bite that I really like is the walking bait.
Walking bait.
Right? And what other to throw than the Kicknocker?
I mean, it's my favorite.
Kickknocker's dope. Super loud.
Yep.
Even the small one's loud.
Yeah.
Not as loud, but it has that super hollow thud to it right there.
That's loud for how small that thing is.
Yeah, and as you're working it through, it's gonna come through, and the sound's just gonna reflect off the water. It's clack, 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 and
they get bit.
I don't know why this one is so different, right? But they love to eat it.
Yeah.
Right. It's been around for a long time. It's had a bunch of different name changes to it, but it's been around for a long time. It's been a staple. We always have people asking for the originals. There's literally nothing different from the original.
It's the same bait.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a good topwater bait and or a good topwater walking bait and you haven't tried this one yet, give this one a try.
You are missing out.
It's gonna catch a ton of fish right there. Do you throw topwater all day in the fall?
I can on certain days.
On certain days?
On certain days when I'm like feeling it. Like if it's a cloudy day all day, I'll throw like a topwater all day.
Yeah.
Because they're active, they're roaming around, and a bait like that, it's gonna call them, they're gonna find it, and then they're gonna track it down and eat it. So
and try to murder it.
Murder, bro. Fly out of the water to eat that thing.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting how it happens. And then topwater is one of the best ways to catch fish.
100%.
So why not
do
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
They're eating it.
Yeah. And you don't lose as many either.
No. So that's a plus.
Unless your name's Griff. And you can't
different story, right?
You can't tie a knot. All right. Next thing I'm going to throw, so from now till probably spring, you're going to see a high cut tied on. I have a rod that always has a high cut on it from now till spring. All right. One of my favorite baits, probably my favorite bait from OSP.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a statement.
Yeah. So we talked about this on one of the What's News.
Yeah.
The high cut is just super dope, man. It imitates a small shad.
Yep.
You cast it out there and you kind of just pull it. You can give it twitches like a jerk bait. You can burn it real quick, but the pause is where the success happens.
Yes.
You pause it, because if you burn it in, it's not going to run straight the whole time. It's going to be a point where it just rolls.
Yeah.
So you burn it, you hear it, you feel it on your rod, and then you pause it. Right? And in that pause, that's where I'm always getting bit. But it's something that just drives the fish crazy.
You catch a ton of fish on that thing.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like different species, different sizes.
I catch all the fish.
Dude, all the fish eat that thing, dude.
Everything.
I've seen you catch so many fish on that thing.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah.
It's something that they're not seeing a ton of.
No.
We're seeing a lot of shad baits, so everybody's used to like some of the bigger shad baits that are on the market.
Yep.
This one's pretty small.
It is.
But it's still going to get you down there under, deeper than 5 foot.
Which is nice. Yeah.
And then if you need it to go deeper, there's options in that too, right? So the high cut and the high cut DR, there's only like a 1.5 foot difference in the dive depth on these. You can just cast them and then just slowly bring them in. But if you want to fish it deeper, which it fishes great deep, I just throw.
That's the deal, right?
Yeah.
The whip
I just
sinker.
throw a whip sinker on there. They call it the Carolina Shad Rig. It's a super dope way to get it in there. 7 grams is the one I use the most. It's the heaviest that we offer.
Oh, okay.
But I can send it down to 50 feet.
Yeah.
But work it in that 30 foot range, right? And the fish, they're chasing shad everywhere.
Yeah.
When you send something down there that is just a little bit different and gets their attention a little bit better than the live shad.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because you're competing with live shad.
Yeah, tons of live shad.
You just want them to turn their head and put their focus on that, and they're gonna come get it.
Yeah, every time, right?
And it's super sick.
So I think the biggest thing with that is like on traditional shad baits, you can't get them down there without that whip sinker. So you're reaching fish that most guys will never reach with a bait like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why you're getting so many bites on it.
Yeah. I mean, even fishing in 20 foot.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Just 20 foot. Cast it, cast it shallow and slowly bring it in.
Yeah.
And the bait, depending on your leader, is not, it's a foot or 2 off the ground.
Right.
And then you work it, and it boom, boom, it deflects. It bounces all crazy, and then it pauses, and it gives this like super slow, like suspending float.
Yeah.
Right. And then whip it again, and boom,
they bite it.
They just bite it.
I mean, there's actually not that many baits in general that you can get down in that 20 to 30 foot without it being like a crankbait.
Yeah.
Or something that just sinks. But you're having baits that are like suspending or floating.
Yeah.
And you're getting it down there. Yeah. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, something you can pause and that's not gonna float to the top on it like super fast. It's just something so different
Yeah.
that the fish really like
They
it.
react to it well, dude.
I don't think I've been anywhere where I haven't been able to catch fish.
I was gonna say, yeah. You've been to basically all the lakes here.
Yeah, I just
caught fish
the
on it.
river. Yeah,
all of them, dude.
all of it. So this is the one thing that I will always have tied on.
Yep.
Yeah. High Cut DR is rattling.
Yep.
High Cut is silent.
Okay.
All right.
And there's a suspend and a floating version.
Yes, there's a suspend and floating version. I like to use both.
Okay.
But most of the time I'm using a floating version on my whip.
Got it.
Right. But that's when you have to constantly moving when you have a floating version.
Oh, okay.
You don't want the weight to be down here and the bait to float. It'll float and go on top of the weight.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you whip it,
doesn't really move the bait.
you're not gonna get anything. So you
That
want
makes
that suspend to be out here a little bit separated, so when you whip it, they move together.
That makes sense.
Right. So
Killer.
super sick. But the floating version, just as a standalone,
Yeah.
super dope.
Sick.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Here's a staple for you.
A staple.
Yeah.
Oh, it is a staple.
Jerkbait.
Look at that thing.
So a super finessey jerkbait.
Yep.
Right. The 110. Everybody loves to use it the way that they use it,
Right.
but for me, this is when I want to be finesse, but I still want to use a jerkbait.
Okay.
I'm not doing major like rips with it. It's just pop, just popping it on slack line. I can do it fast, but as long as it's on slack line, it's a soft pop, and I'm just getting it to just barely move.
Oh, okay.
Right. I like the junior +1 and the +1. Right. So the junior +1 is going to get to regular 110 depths.
Right.
It's about that 7-foot range. Right. But the smaller body is going to draw those fish that are sitting a little bit more shallow or suspended higher in the column.
Yep.
And then the 110 +1 is going to get to about 9-10 foot depending on your line, and it's going to do this. It's going to do the same thing. All right. So everybody's familiar with
At
the
this
110,
point,
right?
Hope.
But in the fall, we use jerkbaits all season.
Yeah, we do.
Right. But in the fall is where you can really start picking up on bigger bites with the jerkbait.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to hit them a lot quicker because they're on that search. They're just looking for shad.
Yeah.
I feel like the suspending fish, if you run into suspending fish in the fall, to me, they're a little bit harder to catch because they're either going up for shad or down for crawfish.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
All they want to do is eat.
Yep.
And I think like break time is in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if you're in like 50 and they're sitting in like 20, they're kind of like chilling.
Just vibing.
Waiting for their next meal, right? They're like, all right, I'm kind of full right now, but in 10 minutes I'm going to be starving.
Yeah.
So let's go, right? So when they're doing that, you want something that's going to be a little bit higher, or you're going to want to go low, right?
Yeah.
So when I go low, the first thing I start with is a jig.
A jig.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Hunts Jig is one of my favorite jigs to use, right? OSP Hunts Jig. It's going to be more rounded than a standard football jig, so you're going to be able to work it a little differently, right? It's still going to have that, drag and pull action to it, but it's going to be a little bit faster, and or not faster, but it's going to move a little bit more because it's more rounded.
That makes sense.
Right? So I like it. It's a small jig, like small profile jig.
I'd say so.
With this a little bit ovaled head on it. All right. So it's got a small but stout hook on there. When you hook them, it gets them pinned.
Yep.
All right. So this one's a cool jig to use. And then, we're always on the hunt for new stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Like we have our thing.
Right.
The Hunts Jig, I'm going to start with the Hunts Jig because I know the Hunts Jig will work. But we just got these evergreen football jigs.
Yeah.
And we started tossing them around, and they are dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So traditional football style head on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Silicone skirt. When it's on the bottom, it spreads out. It's got a thinner hook, but a little bit larger.
Okay.
And this great bait keeper right
Oh, yeah.
here. Right? Also, no weed guard.
No weed guard.
No weed guard on this one, right? So hook sets don't have to be as hard. You're gonna penetrate easily. You don't have to swing through the weed guard on that one. Not as finessey of a hook as the headlock.
Yep.
Right. So the headlock has that super finessey hook when you need something really small. So this one has a pretty normal style hook. Still a little on the finessey side, but this is another cool traditional football head. We just got them in last week.
Yeah.
And we've been throwing them and catching a ton of
Julius
fish
caught some. Ethan caught some on that jig too the other day.
Yeah.
So they both like the jig.
Yeah, everybody's been pumping it up, so I took some out and it does work. It works great.
So why throw a jig instead of like a classic for you, like a free rig? What does a jig offer that a free rig might not be able to?
So the jig is going to be constant bottom contact.
Yep.
Right? So when you're down there and these fish are like hunkered down, eating, looking down,
yeah.
they're not necessarily going to want to follow a bait up
I see.
and follow it back down.
Got it.
Right? So the free rig, I love it.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
Right.
I catch a ton of fish on it.
Yeah.
But when I want to fish in a little bit deeper water with something that just drags, right, I'm just dragging. I'm not doing anything. I'm just casting it out, feeling the bottom, dragging it around, just waiting and just waiting for that thud on the end of my line. I prefer the jig in the fall. I think the free rig for me is like spring all the way through summer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Got it.
So when the fish really aren't telling you what they want to do, the free rig looks amazing.
Right. Yeah.
But this time of year, they're pretty predictable. They're going to be down, face down, just looking for craws.
Yeah. And that jig does it.
Yeah, and the jig does it. I'm not saying you can't get bit on a free rig, but the jig is a good option.
Is the deal. Yeah.
And then something else that I love running on the bottom is going to be a crankbait.
Crankbait.
All right. So the crankbait, we're just going to find the ones that work best for us in every depth column.
Yeah.
Right. So in that mid-range, I really like the Z3. All right. So this is going to get me to like 8 to 10 foot consistently. And it's got a small body on there.
Yes, it does.
It's got that super small body on there. Super sick craw colors in crankbaits in this lineup right here. And it casts amazing.
Casts
right?
insane, dude.
That LBO system that's in there.
It's legit, dude.
Yeah. It only weighs 3/8 of an ounce, but you can cast it more like
really,
a half ounce
really
crankbait.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it flies through the air. It's super small. It gets to depth really easy, or really fast, and they like to eat it. So that's why I like it.
Big reason, right?
Yeah, right? So super small body on that one. Big lip.
Big lip.
Right? And then it has the LBO, so not a rattle.
That's the LBO.
That's the LBO.
Yep.
So that little linear bearing system they have in there, when you go to do your back cast, it locks back there, and then there's a magnet up front. When that system goes forward, it magnetizes and it stays forward the whole time.
Yep.
So you're never gonna have to worry about like deflecting on something and then it
goes
falling
back.
this way.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's always gonna be forward, and then
that's it.
When you want to cast it, it goes like that. Super sick. Some of the sickest crawdad colors in crankbaits.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Are on this one. If I want to go just a little bit deeper, I'm going to a Blitz.
A Blitz.
Yep. Blitz Max and EX DR. Again, still not a huge body on these.
No.
Right? So you got like 2-inch and 2.5 inch.
Yeah.
Or 2 and just under half.
Yeah.
Inches, right? The Blitz Max DR does have a wider or a bigger profile on there, but it's not that much bigger.
No.
And these are going to be like your 12-foot range crankbaits.
Yeah.
Right? I think you can get it down to 15 if you run it on like a 10 pound.
Yeah.
But these crankbaits work well, and you can work them shallow too.
Yeah.
So you can run them in 3 feet of water.
And they deflect so well.
Yeah, they just deflect. They're not going to dig into the ground and get caught in everything. I don't lose many of these. No. Yeah.
I've seen so many guys here at the shop fish them, and I'm like, how are you guys throwing in 2 feet of water not snagging?
Yeah.
And then you guys get bit as soon as you get down to like 8, 10. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. You just throw it on the bank and work it down.
And then it gets bit.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
I started having a lot of success last year at Roosevelt around this time.
Oh, okay.
I fished a tournament out there, and I was able to fish. I just tied on a Blitz.
Yep.
Made my first cast in the morning, and I never took it off. I didn't have to switch rods the whole day. It was crazy. And then right after doing that, I just started like experimenting with it, trying to figure out why is it so good.
Yep.
And I can't tell you why it's so good, but I do know that the fish like it.
That's
right?
all. That's all that matters.
Yeah. The construction on it is crazy, right? It's got the honeycomb construction. It's got the the bearing on the bottom
stabilizes it.
Yeah, that stabilizes it really well, and it just gets bit. Fishes great through grass, through trees, through all that stuff. So when I want to go a little bit deeper than the Z, add a little bit bigger of a profile, this is my go-to. It's the Blitz Max or EX DR. Super dope. And then when you just want to get to the bottom of the ocean, boom. I can't choose a favorite between the two.
Crazy.
Right? So Magnum, Blitz, DR, EX DR, and the Big M 7.5.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, what other crankbaits would you throw at this point?
Yeah. Like, you throw a Big M,
you
cast it out there, it's going to get to 20 foot really quick.
Easy. Yeah.
And you're not even really going to
feel it.
Right?
It feels weird, actually.
Yeah.
Because when you throw it, you're like, oh, I'm going to get my arm broke off. And then you start reeling, and you're like, there's something wrong with my crankbait. Yeah. And then you reel up, you're like, wait, there's nothing wrong with that crankbait?
Yeah, you're just like, oh, it's not working.
Yeah, it's not working.
Like, but then you see it, and it's like...
Yeah, it's like flashing. Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's doing what it's supposed to do. And they bite it.
And then 3 casts later, you're like, it's not working.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to that thump,
right? Yep.
Especially when you think in like 20 foot.
Especially, right? Yeah. But dude, it's super easy to fish it, and the fish love eating that thing.
Yeah. One of the things I love to do is run this through the tops of trees.
Oh yeah.
I find a tree in 25 foot, or whatever foot it is, where the top's in like 20, 25 foot, and I can just barely bang the tops of that.
Just tick it.
Just tick it. It gets bit. And it's not super loud, even though it has this giant sound system in there.
It's massive.
Like, it's like kickers in there.
Yeah.
Right? But as you're working it, like, you know, sometimes you can hear your crankbait in 10 foot of water. You can't really hear it.
No.
It's not, it's more like...
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really doing it as like a 10XT.
Like a 10XT,
like that. Yeah. But it has enough in there. It's pretty dope. Pretty flat body on there, which gives it its roll. And then the lip on it's not very wide.
No, it's not.
Right? So if you want a crankbait that's going to be kind of subtle but have a big presence,
that's the deal.
That's the deal right
there. Right there.
And you know, you're reaching depths of 20 foot. I mean, if you want to go lighter, like on your line, you can get it down deeper
easily. Yeah, 22, like, 24.
Yeah, like Ethan's talking about like 8-10 pound tests on that thing.
Right. He throws his stuff on 10, which is a trip.
It's crazy because for me, I feel like I'm just gonna snap my line on every cast.
Yeah.
But they float, so you just go get it back.
Yeah, you just go get it back.
Yeah. It's not hard to experiment with something like that.
Exactly.
Right. And then, if you really, really want to get down there, you got fish sitting in like 25, 30 foot.
We got a crankbait for you.
We got you covered.
We got you covered.
All right. So the Blitz lip construction is very similar.
I would say so, right?
A little bit wider of a body on that one. So you are going to feel
You're going to feel this one. Yeah. This feels like a normal deep diving crankbait.
Yeah, but it's not going to tear your arm off.
No, not like a 10XD.
You get a good like rod that's long that will absorb a lot of that, and it flexes deep into the blank.
You're fine.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. And this one is louder.
Yeah, it's loud.
Yeah, it makes a lot of noise when it's down there.
Yep.
And when it's banging on stuff, it's just clacking and banging and clacking and banging. This is another bait where I've caught all of the fish on.
All of them, right?
Yeah. Stripers, white bass.
You name it.
Flathead, channel cat. I want to say I've caught a bluegill on it.
I can believe it.
Yeah, right? So when it's down there, because again, it's not that big.
No, it's just a normal threadfin down there.
When you compare it to like...
Right, and that's the pup of the Kicknocker.
Yeah, slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Right? So...
It's just the bill.
Yeah, it's just a bill.
It's just the spoon.
Yeah.
On the front of that thing.
But it gets down there quick.
Yeah.
Right? So again, we've heard people talking about 30 foot. Right? Some people talking way deeper than 30 foot.
Yeah.
I've fished this in about 27 feet.
Yep.
No issue.
No issue. Dude.
On big line, 16 pounds.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, so I'm not brave enough to throw it on the light stuff, especially when it's down there. I already have enough issues with light line.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw this on heavier line.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's a good one right there. And then let's talk about a glide bait.
Whoa.
Right?
Okay, Clash Master.
So I think I don't even know how to do this. So I know that a glide bait is an amazing bait to throw, right?
I would say so.
I've been throwing it a lot over the last couple weeks.
You really have.
Yeah, I've been moving a lot of fish.
Yep.
I haven't been finding a ton of success, but I'm using it more of a search tool than I am a fish catching tool.
Okay.
Because they're so interested in what's going on over there.
Absolutely.
And they're just going to show me their house.
Right.
So,
they're like, oh, that house is over there. That's a nice house you got, bud.
Yeah. Let me follow up with something else so I can rip your face off.
Yeah. But, get a little drive-by.
Yeah. The glide bait, something that's, it's bigger, but not giant, right? So this is the size that I like to stay in.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And I just need something that's going to move and glide really fluently. The I Slide right here does that perfectly.
Yeah, it's a great one.
When I want to be aggressive, I'll tie on a Clash. So I can just walk it.
Yeah.
Get it to do small twitches like that.
Yep.
But when I want something that's going to be super fluid, this I Slide does a lot for me. It draws the fish out.
It does.
I am going to learn this.
Okay.
And I'm going to start catching fish one day.
I know.
Right? But for now, it's the best search tool on the market is the glide bait.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I remember doing like 2v2 bank fishing tournaments.
Yep.
And I would just have a glide bait, and my partner would have like a drop shot or something.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I would cast out, get the fish, and while they were falling in, he would flip that drop shot
and they
in
go
there
over there and they eat it
and catch it.
So smart.
Yeah. So that's how I learned how to use the glide bait.
Yep.
I know you do different things with your glide bait than I do, but they're tied on.
Right. They're tied on, ready to go.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna end this with the Joker. All right.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah. So I like a big, slow-moving topwater.
Okay.
Right? And you know how much I love wake baits.
Yes.
Right. Ever since I first got a hold of a Joker, which wasn't very long ago.
No.
My first Joker was probably
April. The Hook Up Tackle Club.
Yeah. I started learning the power of the bigger wake bait. Yeah. Right. So the big rat does amazing all through the summer.
Yeah.
The Joker is kind of the same, but it just has a little bit different of an action.
Got it.
And a different sound on there, right?
Yeah.
So this Joker right here, it's going to be loud and obnoxious on the top.
Yes.
The tail, you can flip it, and the tail's going to do different things for you,
it's like splishes and splashes on top.
Yeah, you can get to slap the water.
So sick.
It's going to throw water around. You can walk it.
Yeah.
You can take the lip out and walk it. I mean, it's such a sick bait. You can do so much things with it.
Right, yeah.
Like, these DRT baits are all like, they're like Legos, dude.
Right. The versatility, right?
Yeah, you can do so many different things. I can just put a regular V-tail in there if I don't want to have all that tail action. So you can really get it dialed in on what they're doing and what time of year it is. But in the fall, I love to run this on like super rocky banks.
Okay.
Where it drops off really fast.
Yep.
And these fish are just sitting on those shelves down there.
Oh yeah.
And they're just gonna be like, all right, it's not going away.
No.
Let me attack it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So one of the key things is to just keep it in their face for a long period of time, and that's what the Joker allows me to do.
It pushes a lot of water. It sounds good too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this doesn't have a rattle.
No rattle.
Right.
It's just the joints, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it just it has a squeak to it.
Yeah.
Another talking about the squeak again. That squeak. So this is a super sick bait. I love to throw it spring and fall.
Okay.
Right. So the fall has been dope. I've caught some really nice ones over the last few weeks on this. So
that's the deal, baby.
All right, Jeff. Is there any other baits that you would like to talk about for November?
You covered basically all of it. Yeah.
So wherever you guys are in the U.S., obviously you're going to be going through different things than we are, right?
Yeah.
Some of you guys might be starting to get under ice.
Yep.
It's probably pretty cold for a lot of places.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like in the South they might be in pre-spawn.
Yeah, for all we know.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So this is just what I'm using.
Yep.
These are some super fun baits to throw. They catch a ton of fish. Right now is the perfect time of year for me to throw them. So I would just recommend you grab some of them and try them out.
Oh yeah.
See what they do for you. If it's too cold right now, there's going to be a time in the near future where you can throw them and have a good time with them.
Right. Yep.
All right. So on behalf of everybody here at the Hookup, Ben and Jeff and everybody else, thank you for watching. I hope you have a good time. Go catch some fish.
Phew.